Hey folks, this is Alan Jones with HiFi Buys. I'm really excited to get to a little closer in-depth view of the dCS Lina headphone products, which are right here before me. dCS for over 30 years has been working from the record part of the business. They I believe, had the very first D to A. So when CDs came out, we wanted to get them on vinyl, or an A to D, I believe was the first A to D that they had. And we ended up finding that again was taking analog to digital so that they could get them on CDs. A lot of these units are still in use in a lot of the studios today. And that kind of, as they were working in Pro Sound, as they got through the years, the product was so reliable and so good that they had a hard time placing newer units in the studios. And so realized that they needed to get into, shall we say, home products for the home listener. And shall we say, many years ago, they've come out with that, the Ring DAC, which has kind of been the statement of their product. It is a DAC that is designed to be able to be upgraded using field programmable gate arrays, or FPGAs. Everybody uses them sometimes in different ways and so on. Some folks use FPGAs, Cord does, and they don't really have any upgrades available for them. That's not a bad thing against Cord. They sound fantastic and we carry them here. But one of the nice things about having programmable field gate arrays is like MQA came out and they were able to add it to the unit. As any other digital things come forward, or also as they learn more about the software and how to be able to get it. This is such a passionate company. The one thing, if you look at any of their videos out there, you'll see nothing but passion from them. They are a company that is always trying to get to state of the art, and they have always been there. And they have, from what I have seen from my customers purchasing dCS over the last few years, they have always exceeded the customer's expectations. As they're building this as a headphone unit, they had some specific goals in mind. One is to build the best, fully balanced, solid-state headphone amplifier that you could find in the marketplace, and they've done so. The DAC here is a version of the Bartok, but I don't want to say that it's all of the Bartok, because I think the Bartok in a lot of ways, especially with the new 2.0 software, does outperform this. What this system does, quite simply, no matter what headphone you plug into it, it will show you exactly what that headphone's capable of. There are a couple of filter adjustments and also some expanse things that dCS has done that are a little different than others. I actually enjoy the expanse. I think it actually brings us a little bit closer to what the studio is hearing. So I think it's a really, really great thing that they've done. I don't find a lot of artificial artifacts on top of that when they do it either. So again, I cannot state enough about dCS as a whole of a company. They just don't do things wrong because they're so versed in what they're doing. They have an awful lot of people up there, which I've actually been, and I say up there, kind of up and over the pond. But you end up finding, in being at the factory, the passion of the people and seeing the amount of engineering and that kind of thing goes on, their expectation of their products as they come out with them is for them to operate beautifully from day one, and they do. This is their first amplifier, separate amplifier. It is a fully balanced solid-state amplifier. It has a set of buffered, balanced inputs, as well as a set of non-buffered inputs, as well as a set of RCA inputs. How we get there is actually through this button right here. This button will turn the unit on and off, as well as change the inputs from the back so that they're available to all the headphones out here. You also end up finding there is a gain switch here. The Hi-Fi Man, the big end headphones that we have from them are very, very tough to drive. They're kind of a bear. There was a lot of concern as to whether this amplifier would drive a set of headphones as tough as that to drive, and it drives them with aplomb. You end up finding the detail we've got out of the Hi-Fi Mans through this is absolutely incredible. What you have as far as outputs, and one of the nice things about it, the output impedance of this headphone amp is so low that there's really no headphones that we're aware of that this unit cannot drive. Obviously, you have some electrostatic stuff out there that might be a little bit difficult. Well, not difficult, but should be driven with an electrostatic amplifier. So what we have as far as inputs, we have basically 3-pin balanced inputs. We also have a 4-pin balanced inputs, which we're using our HiFi mounted headphones, as well as a 1/4-inch jack. So you end up finding that you do have virtually about any connection that you need to be able to go in here. The volume control feels so smooth, and it's a nice big volume control, really easy to grab. You end up finding the volume, as well as most of this unit we can operate with the Mosaic Amp app, and I'll get into that a little bit later. But no matter what DAC you're using or anything along that lines, if you want to hear the most out of your headphones, without a doubt, this is the amp you should hook it up to. We're going to get a little deeper into the dCS Lina Streamer DAC. So what you end up finding is that when you go to a smaller case, things get more and more difficult to get big performance out of it. What we've learned over time is discrete parts and those kind of things spread out over a board actually do matter. And one thing you'll find is that they have taken a board that comes in a unit the size of this and have kind of folded the edges up on the front and the back to be able to get everything that's inside here. Pretty amazing. In this world of COVID, I can't imagine a company trying to go out and getting all of this work done, casework and all those things, when you think about how difficult it's been for really us to get product. But I will tell you that they have done an extraordinary job of getting what dCS always does, which is basically state-of-the-art at the place that they're trying to be at. Is this an inexpensive product? No. Is it worth every penny? Absolutely. I've never had anybody, again, not be happy with a dCS DAC or streamer that they purchased from us. So let's get a little bit into the details of this, because this is a little bit different, okay? So what you'll find inside of a DAC, this normally have ladder DACs where they'll stack them on top of each other to try and reduce noise. What dCS does is use a very discrete DAC with basically 96 sets of parts on them, and then program through the FPGA randomly, but on purpose, to never have any of those parts turn on next to the other one. Because when you do, the heat of one will affect the other, and therefore you end up with noise. The purpose of dCS and their DAC is to make sure that the noise does not enter the signal. Because it's not there in the beginning. The digital transformation from digital to analog is what creates some of that noise, jitter and the other things. That is, again, and I'm going to switch quickly to the clock, that's one of the reasons why to have the clock with this system. It lowers noise floors. It will increase soundstage. Just the performance overall is, I don't want to say gentler in nature, but more correct in nature. And so you'll find that sounds, any of the noise that you reduce allows all the other little tiny tones that make something sound the way it does come through. So in this dCS, as we look at the display, this is a touchscreen display. It can also be operated by the Mosaic app, and I'm going to show you the Mosaic app here in just a second, literally with the screen in front of me. So up here on the right is kind of like a menu. It's telling us what word clock we're on, what filter we're using. Then over on the left, it shows that we're using CoBuzz, and I Am the Sea by Aspic is displayed, and it's playing at 2496. So inside here are two clocks, excuse me. What you end up finding, one at 44.1 and the other one at 48. And that's to handle the multiplying frequencies as you go up, or the standard things that are done at 48 and 44.1. That's the reason the two clocks are necessary. All right, so I pulled up the dCS app. And one thing I want to show y'all is that when we actually go, this is our device selection. So these are all the different products that we actually have in the store with dCS. So you can see we can name them different things. All these can operate as Roon endpoints. We've got two of the network bridges. We've got a Bartok DAC, the Rossini DAC, the Vivaldi upsampler, and then also another network bridge on the Quintos. And then also the dCS Lina. So I'm going to choose the dCS Lina, and it brings up all the different things that you'd end up wanting. UPnP, which is basically hard drive, shall we say, across a network. USB, which you can plug directly into it. Deezer, which is a streaming service. CoBuzz, Tidal, and then the radio, and also you can get podcast as well. And then you see Spotify as well. So I'm going to touch the top three little lines up there on the top left. And that brings in a different kind of thing for us. It allows us to go to the audio, which allows us to see what the source is. And then also for the processing platform, we can see what they're doing as far as upsampling, what filters. So if you want to change that, you can actually touch it and change the filters. We do have preferences in separate recordings. We do find that everybody has a little bit of different preferences in that. Sometimes you'll hear a little difference in the filters. Sometimes you won't hear it at all. And it really depends a little bit on the recording. And that's the same thing about the expanse field that you end up finding within there as well. You end up seeing DSD filters, and then again a crossfeed with the expanse 1 and expanse 2. And you end up finding, again, there'll be a small difference between those, not a great difference. And again, that difference will be dependent upon the recording itself. All right, so then we're gonna get down to the ring DAC. It just basically analog conversion is a classic mapper. You end up finding the output is put at 6 volts. Again, the reason for that is to be able to get the hard to drive Hi-Fi Man headphones, and that's not a knock on them. These headphones sound amazing. What we have now is a pair of headphones and a headphone amp that actually can do great things being fed by a DAC and a clock that, again, state of the art. Gosh, can I stop? I got so much sniffles going on, I just can't even get, can you edit that stuff out? All right, so now what we're gonna do is go back to display. One of the nice things, if you look at it on the display, you can actually turn the display completely off. And as I turn this off, actually DCS unit will turn off there in just a second. As I turn it back on, the display comes right back on. We also have varying display brightness, as you can see. Another thing you end up finding on the device, it's showing you different types of way to be able to, again, use the word clock. We always put it on auto word clock, and the reason for it is that if it's a 44.1 source, then it'll go to that clock. If it's a 48 kilohertz source or multiples of either of those, it will go to that. And also if it's MQA, it will also automatically go to that. The MQA algorithm that they have inside here is just phenomenal. So I would recommend anybody to come down, take a listen to the system, listen to a few MQA songs, and listen to the stuff on Qobuz out there is fantastic too. So either way you want to go that way, have fun, enjoy the music, this is the way to get it to absolutely levels that I have to tell you, we've had a lot of people listen to this system and just kind of go, wow, I can't even believe that this can sound that way. So that's been something else. So we're going to go back, system test. This allows us to do channel checks and those kind of things to make sure that everything's hooked up correctly and that everything's working. I'm not going to run that right now. They also have a support button if you need anything. But for the most part, we choose the dCS Lina DAC. We can pull up Qobuz. Let's say we have a playlist in Qobuz, which we have quite a few of them. We have Hi-Fi Chat's official playlist. This is during the first year and a half of COVID, we did quite a few Hi-Fi Chats with folks in the industry. And this is a playlist that involves everything that those folks mentioned, the folks in the industry that we talked to during the Hi-Fi Chats. So I'm going to, shall we say, pull that up. So this will take just 1 second. So there we are. So this shows basically a nice list of the things that were mentioned by all these folks. And all I have to do is just press 1. It says play now or add next. So I play now, and bam, it's playing on the machine. So really, really easy to use. There is absolutely nothing here that, I guess one of the biggest things that I always had is questions in digital. It's kind of like a computer. If we don't understand it, what we want is a company that does understand it and really will put forward what we want in it because they do understand. All I can say is it's easy to use, it sounds fantastic, it fits in about any environment that you want to, and I can't imagine you coming down or being at home and not being able to get absolutely everything you want out of your audio. So again, great job dCS. Just, I don't have words to say more than I already have. You guys do such a great job on everything and we are proud to be a dealer. All right, so thank you all very much. Now I'm gonna sit back and enjoy the music. Make sure I got these on right so that I can do the right thing. There we go. Get the volume up.